I'm going to start recording now. So I'm recording this session now. Okay, so bit.ly presentation link. My email address, if you want to get a hold of me, is kim.cook@cms.k12.nc.us. That is not a typo. There is 2 M's in my email because I use my middle name, Michelle. And I did get married 2 years ago, but I kept my email address the same as Kim Cook. So that's not a typo either. So let's get started. Again, thank you for being here. I am so honored. And before we dive into any content, one of the things that we need to prepare our bodies is for learning to take place, to get in the new information and to be able to consolidate, process it, to be fully engaged and present. And how to engage learners, even if it's adult learners, is to get off your seat onto your feet. So before we get into any content, let's just do a little prepare the brain type of physical activity. And again, you don't have to do this if you don't want to, but you can participate at your own comfort level. So if you're seated, go ahead and take a stand. And you can borrow this too if you're going to be teaching remotely or doing presentations like I'm delivering one right now for you folks. You can copy any of these slides and embed them into your own training slides if you want. So this one is called 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. So my colleague is shown here doing 5 windmill jacks. So when I say go, you're just going to do 5 windmill jumping jacks. Get ready. 3, 2, 1, go. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Next, for 4, you're going to be doing 4 cross the midline air punches. Get ready, set, go. 4, 3, 2, 1. Crossing the midline integrates the right and left brain hemispheres. Again, crossing the midline, opposite elbow to opposite knee. Get ready, set, go. 3, 2, 1. Next, we got 2, 2, and again, just do this at your own comfort level. I just kind of do a little kick up. Opposite toe touches. Get ready, set, go. 2, 1. And the last one is just 1 opposite windmill to the ground. Get ready, set, go. And I just do it at my own comfort level. All right, so now that we've woken up our right and left brain hemispheres, we're ready for new learning to take place. So go ahead and take a seat, or if you're like me, I use a standing desk. Up to you, whatever you feel comfortable. So what are we going to try to achieve before the end of this Zoom training session? Well, let's first make sure that you understand what is choice-led health. You'll get a little bit of an overview of how it was developed. We will dive into the student course book and teacher course books. I will show you what that looks like. Then you'll understand, all right, what are students expected to do? And that's the first thing that kids will ask you as a teacher of choice-led health. What am I expected to do? That's their first thing that's on their mind on day 1 when you go back to school. What am I expected to do in this class? Then I will actually go on to the Canvas learning platform. Now I've been doing this session for Canvas and Schoology. That's why it says Canvas and Schoology online platform. Today's session is the Canvas learning management system, where I believe most of you are using that Canvas learning management system, and that's why you're here today. So you could see what that looks like. So let's get started. So what is choice-led health? Let's take a look. So choice-led health is a skills-based health education curriculum. It was developed with the help of the Health Education Curriculum Analysis Tool, HECAT, from the Centers of Disease Control. And under this HECAT tool, there are 15 characteristics identified that show an effective health curriculum. And I put 5 of them up here that are the main 5 that address our choice-led health curriculum. Like, for example, choice-led health uses strategies designed to personalize information and engage students. That's through the student choice and voice assignments. You're going to hear me say student choice and voice throughout this presentation. Students choose what they want to complete for course credit. By doing these student choice and voice assignments, it builds their personal competence, their social competence, and their self-efficacy by addressing skills. Kids are actually applying, doing skills-based health education. I won't read all 5 to you, and you can always go back to this slide deck and look at that health education curriculum analysis tool if you're interested by just clicking on that link down below. But we're gonna move on. I just wanna give you a little bit information on how it was developed. So it was done with purpose. Also, choice-led health, you might hear this a lot from your administrators or district leaders. How are we personalized learning for students? So how is personalized learning? What does that look like in a choice-led health curriculum? A personalized learning environment, they embrace effective communicators and collaborators. We allow for students to be academic risk takers. We're open-minded, receptive, and reflective of feedback. All these characteristics are embedded in a choice-led health curriculum to hopefully the end outcome, making our kids more health literate for a lifetime. Making kids more health literate for a lifetime. And that's the main goal of choice-led health. So the development process was 5 big steps. And in fact, this entire choice-led health really started over about a year and a half ago, where we were delivering choice-led health in Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, but then other states like Virginia say, hey, we want to do this for our state. But that required, okay, what are Virginia's standards of learning? So the first step was, okay, what are your 2020 standards of learning? Then after reviewing all the standards of learning, let's align the essential health topics with skill-based student activities. And what I mean by skill-based student activities, what do they need to know? What should students understand? And what should students be able to do? From there, we develop student choice and voice menus, and you'll see them once we get to the Canvas course. Students will be choosing an assignment called a starter. They'll choose an appetizer. They'll choose a main entree and a dessert. So 4 different types of assignments per health essential topic: a starter, appetizer, main entree, and a dessert. And within all those assignments, students have choices, what they want to use for a starter, what they want to complete as an appetizer, main entree, and a dessert. Now, because COVID-19 occurred in March, we quickly said, wait a minute, we just can't write a curriculum where we're expecting teachers to deliver instruction face-to-face in front of students. We are now in this remote learning world, in a brave new world that we're entering. We really need to create student online courses, hence the one that you're going to see on Canvas. So we quickly made sure that this entire curriculum is turnkey on a Canvas learning management system or in a Schoology management learning system. And then now we're in number 5. We're at the point now where we have to build teacher capacity. We got to provide staff training. So that's the 5 big areas on how this whole thing was developed. So let's look at a teacher course book. So I would encourage everybody who's on this Zoom that at some point you would want to come back to these slides, click on some of these hyperlinks like I'm about to do right now. This hyperlink for the teacher course books takes you to 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. This is like your teacher edition, your lessons, your units. So let me click on just 6th grade, just so you can see what that looks like. And 6th, 7th, 8th, 9th, and 10th look very similar, but of course, you have different standards of learning for every grade. So that's the difference. But the whole look of it, having this cover page, looks the same. This looks the same. Like, what are the big 3 things that we're focusing on the essential health concepts, healthy decisions and advocacy and health and promotion, table of contents. You have a whole overview for choice-led health. Now, it would be really boring if I just read this to you guys, so I just want to make sure I show it to you and you know it exists for you to take a deeper dive later on. So you have a backwards design framework, an overview of how the lessons were created through a backwards design framework. And those 3 stages are, what do kids need to know? How do we know students know it? That's your assessment piece. And then what activities should we have students do? That's a backwards design framework. This is a pretty helpful page. This backwards design, where it actually says, here are the recommended order of topics and the estimated instructional time. This is kind of like your pacing guide. How many days should I spend during my introduction week? Well, it gives you 5 days. Mental wellness, social emotional skills, 10 days. Substance abuse, 10 days. Body systems, 10 days, etc. This just gives you an overview of a pacing guide. And I'm going to stop real quickly here. If you guys have any questions as I'm going through this, feel free to put it into the chat box. I will go back at the end and answer some of these questions that you might be putting in your chat box. But for the time being, one of the big questions I believe that might be coming up is, wait a minute, I don't have all this instructional time. I don't have 10 days. I don't have 5 days. This was based on a 90 days of instruction. Keep in mind, all this curriculum, all this content that's even built in the Canvas learning management system, you can customize. You can retrofit it to your instructional delivery and style and with your instructional time. There is more content in here that you probably will use, but I'll rather you have more content than less content, where you could just publish and unpublish certain assignments to fit your instructional time. So don't worry. This is not like you must teach this, read from the script. You customize and retrofit this to your instructional delivery style and to your instructional time. So that's an estimated pacing guide. Here are some just suggestions before you even start teaching choice-led health. There's even prep work suggestions like when you are back face-to-face, because this is a great curriculum, whether it's face-to-face or whether it's purely remote. So it can be used in both situations. That's how it was created. So even in a face-to-face, this prep work will help you out as well. Then I just kind of love graphic organizers to kind of give a more overview. I place some frequently asked questions in this teacher course book, because these are ones that when I do live trainings, teachers ask these all the time. So I embedded them in the student course book. This session will give you an overview of everything. You're really going to want to just go back and do a deeper dive and look at some of these frequently asked questions. So I just want to share with you what the student or the teacher course book looks like. Notice it even goes right into your weekly units by the health essential topics. But as you can see, there's over 61 pages in here. So I'm going to leave the teacher course book just for you to know. There is a full course book that if you need to share with your administrator, district coordinators, giving them an overview, lesson plans of what you're doing in a choice-led health curriculum. So that's the teacher course book. Also created a student course book, especially in a remote world. We want kids to be able to understand what they are expected to do. The student course book is already embedded and uploaded into your Canvas course. I'll just click on this really quickly. It's not long. Students may or may not read this entire course book. It's only 5 pages. It just gives them an overview, of the design. My 17-year-old daughter may say, yeah, I'm not going to read this, but it gives guardians, it gives kids an overview of what is expected to do. Like, for example, what do I have to do? And then frequently asked questions. So that's in there as well to help you as a teacher to lift up what what students are expected to do. So teacher course book, student course book, I would go back and just look at them. All right, that was a lot of information. So you got through the development process. It's a skills-based health curriculum with a lot of student choice and voice, a student and a teacher course book. All right, let's do another brain boost. So if you're seated, go ahead, stand up, and participate at your own comfort level. And for 1 minute, I'm going to start the timer. We will balance on one foot for 30 seconds. Then after 30 seconds, we will balance on the other foot. And again, you could switch feet as often as you want. You just do this at your own comfort level. So when you balance on one foot, pretend you have these imaginary shapes on the floor, like a triangle, a square, circle, etc. And you will pretend that you are tracing those imaginary shapes. Get ready. I'm going to start the timer. 30 seconds on one, 30 seconds on the other, but switch when you want to. Pretend you got those shapes. We just got to be sure that we allow time for students, adult learners like ourselves, to process information, to be fully engaged and present, just as we would want to do in a classroom. We need to do some of these effective strategies even remotely. And switch feet if you haven't already done so. Get both sides of the body. People always ask me, how often do you have to do a brain boost? I would say as often as possible. Even when you are on a remote platform, I would say probably within every 10, 15 minutes, especially for adult learners and teenagers, even more for the younger ones. And I love using brain boost as a way to stamp, I am done with this part of the training. Now we're moving on to another topic of the training. Like, for example, what are students expected to do in a choice-led classroom? So let's find out. I love those short little whimsical videos. They're only like 40, 46 seconds long. Perfect timing for a teenage brain. Just give me a short little video I can watch, kind of understand, get primed of what is expected for me. Teachers ask me a lot, what is my daily schedule look like? What does my daily lesson plan look like? So in a choice-led health curriculum, when I taught it, I had a warm-up. That's when the kids would first come in through the door. They're throwing their book bags down. They're talking. I would do an instant warm-up to kind of get them settled down. I would even do that in a remote learning platform. I would follow the same agenda. I would do a warm-up. I would then do a direct or indirect instruction. Direct instruction would be showing a graphic organizer that highlights health content. And then the indirect instruction would be, okay, students, now you're working on your student choice and voice assignments. Then the last 5 minutes of class would be the closure. I would have kids, okay, time to clean up, complete your exit ticket before you leave the classroom door. So a warm-up, that takes only about 5-10 minutes. Then a direct or indirect instruction. The direct instruction might take maybe another 10-15 minutes. But the majority of your time is allowing kids to work on their health menu assignments, those student choice and voice assignments that we'll get to once I show you the Canvas course. So this just gives a broad overview on how to pace your lesson planning, how to pace your instructional time. So warm up, direct, indirect, and then a closure activity. That's how I would set it up. But again, you could customize this to your own, instructional delivery and style. So a warm-up in a choice-led health curriculum consists of table talks. You probably caught on to the theme, like a dinner table, eating, you've got the starter, appetizer, main entree, dessert, this restaurant theme. And so I thought of table talks as just another word for like bell ringers. So let's find out what our table talks are. conversation starters. You can actually do them if you're provided, or if you have to do live instruction. I would do a table talk for my live instruction. In Charlotte-Mecklenburg schools, our teachers are required to do a certain amount of minutes for live instruction. So I encourage teachers, hey, do a table talk together and have your kids put into the Canvas platform their response in the discussion section. If you were face-to-face, you could post a table talk on your projection screen, and you can have everyone watch the video, or everyone discuss one of the reflection questions that you would put up. And that would be kind of like your beginning of your lesson activity, the first 5-10 minutes. And they're just great table talk conversation cards. And there's great videos that demonstrate and highlight the importance of grit, perseverance, an attitude of gratitude, kindness. It's just great videos of inspiration and hope. And what a great time to show these type of videos for our kids who may have been through so much trauma of being isolated at home and not being able to go to school since March of last year. So they're just great starters to set the mood, set the culture of choice-led health. The direct instruction I spoke about is doing mind maps. A mind map is a graphic organizer. Here's one right here that is one mind map, just one of the many, many, many mind maps in choice-led health that are already done for you. That's the good news, and they're already embedded in the Canvas course. This one is the importance of personal boundaries. So you can see it's colorful. It chunks the information in an organizer in a very easy way to see the content and for it to be easily understood, instead of just having it listed linear on a note paper. If you click on this mind map hyperlink, it will take you to all the mind maps in 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. Let me click on 6th grade. These are amazing. I added them as a PowerPoint file where you can copy and edit. I also uploaded them as a PDF file if you want to see them as a PDF. That's how they're embedded in our Canvas course. So if you clicked on body systems, notice we have all these mind maps that highlight that essential topic. How cool. So then if you click on mental wellness, social emotional skills, here's even more mind maps. There's 10 of them here. Just to give you an idea of what they look like, and all these mind maps are aligned to your standards of learning, your 2020 standards of learning. It's been done for you. So one of my favorites are the community and environmental health. I just think that the pictures are just so awesome. They're eye-catchy. So I just made up that word, eye-catchy. But I just think it engages kids a little bit more, and it really defines the content in a graphic organizer. So you just click on that mind map and you'll see them all, what I just shared with you. So let's move on. That would be like your direct instruction. You might just put that and share it on your screen if you're doing live instruction face-to-face, or you're doing live instruction behind the computer. So teachers also ask me a lot, well, how are students assessed? How do you grade them, Kim? Well, in a choice-led health curriculum, students are assessed formally. That's through quizzes and tests. So in choice-led health, you have a unit quiz after every module. You have one on body systems. You have one on substance abuse prevention. You have one on, nutrition. You have a quiz for each one of the essential topics. The informal grade comes from the student authentic work. That's the work that students will complete for those student choice and voice projects, the starter, the appetizer, the main entree, and the desserts, the stuff that kids actually have to create. And these are assignments that kids can't find the answer by Google searching a worksheet and finding the answers to the worksheet somewhere on the cloud and submitting it and uploading. Kids actually have to make and create these things. So it eliminates that, hey, can I just get this somewhere else? Kids are actually doing this stuff, and they're doing the heavy lifting. That is the way to get them to become more health literate, make them more curious to learn the content, and then embrace their creativity by allowing them to do student choice and voice projects like infographics, public service announcements, pretend letters to the editor, blogs, podcasts, all these different types of assignments that they can show that they know and understand the information. The formal quizzes and tests, it is all embedded in Canvas. There's actually a pre-assessment, which is ungraded, doesn't count against their, report card and their quarterly grades. But the quizzes and tests come from the mind maps. So people always ask me, well, if kids are choosing their assignments, how can you assess them on a quiz or a test? All the mind map content, that is what they're asked on the quizzes and tests. So everybody gets the mind maps, then they're assessed on those mind maps because everybody gets them. And then to help you guys out, when you are grading those public service announcements, the flyers, the posters, the health fair boards, the game boards, there are scoring rubrics for everything. And then to help teachers, especially for the 9th and 10th grade students, here is, if you click on these links down below, just helpful guides. Here, students, how do you start your own blog? Here's some podcast tips. So when you're creating a podcast, here's how you start on creating a podcast. So try to put in all these tools that kids can use to help them complete these assignments, and then to help you teachers to provide these resources for kids to help them in this remote learning platform. Okay, another brain boost, one of my favorites. Everybody, please stand up if you're not already standing up. Flippity.net has amazing templates, so many ready-to-go templates using Google Sheets that you can make this random wheel spinner if you want, like I did. Instead of putting names on the random wheel spinner, because I think it's called random name wheel spinner in Flippity, I put exercises on it. I'm a health and PE teacher. So when I click on this, it will take me to my wheel because it's already published to the cloud. And when I click on it, it will spin and it will land on one of the 6 different exercises that we need to do. So let's click it, participate at your own comfort level. Let's see what we need to do. Again, movement is good for adult learners just as it is for kids. 6 air punches, and go ahead and cross that midline. I always like removing so that we get to all 6 different exercises. And feel free to make a copy of any of these slides and embed them into your own instructional slides when you begin remote instruction or even in the classroom. 6 high jumps. I'm not going to actually jump off the ground. I'm just going to raise my hands. Next, we got 4 more to go. 6 heel kicks. I go behind the back and do my heel kicks. Again, I always like to cross the midline. 3 more. 6 knee taps. Doing 6 knee taps. Again, I always cross the midline. Let me remove it. 2 more. 6 toe touches. Okay. Again, I'm doing this at my own comfort level. I'm not actually going to be able to go and touch. I'm just going to cross the midline and go as far down as possible. I'll remove it. And just because I like spinning the wheel, we know we're going to be doing 6 jumping jacks. Modify them if you want. I'm actually just going to do little baby ones. And then we'll go back to the slide presentation. And if you stick around to the end, I actually have a bonus slide that has, here's ways you can connect with your kids, build relationships with your students remotely. I have a bonus slide for you if you want to use it when you start teaching. So let's go on to the next slide. Go ahead and take a seat if you haven't already done so. So let's get to the Canvas course. So I'm actually going to minimize this and I'm going to go to the Canvas course. So this Canvas course, I'm showing you a 6th grade choice-led health Canvas course. But if you teach 7th, 8th, 9th, or 10th, just pretend you have the number 8, 9, or 10. This is what the homepage looks like for each one of those courses. The framework is the same for all the grade levels. It's just different choice and voice assignments to be age appropriate, and it differs per grade level because we have different standards of learning per grade level. But by showing you the 6th grade choice-led health Canvas course, it looks the same as in all the other grades. So I'll take you through what the course looks like in 6th grade, but it looks the same in all the other grades as well. So I always tell teachers, when you first get this, click on Student View and go through the whole course as a student. By doing so, you just see what the student sees. I always double check that. I'm going to leave the student view, but I just want to put that in there for our Canvas users. So I'm going to start the course. Click that button. So you can see all the modules that have been loaded into your choice-led health. All the modules are assigned by the health essential topics that are aligned to your standards of learning. Course resources, you can keep these published all the time because it consists of the table talk cards and scoring rubrics that kids may want to reference throughout the entire course. You will actually start instruction by just publishing the introduction module. Those who are Canvas savvy and know the Canvas learning management system, by clicking this little button, you publish and unpublished content, what kids see. I would not recommend publishing everything. For a kid, when they open up their computer and they see all these units, they would be overwhelmed. They'd be like, I can't do this in the amount of time that we have. But they will feel much better if you just unpublish the content that they don't need to know yet. Publish when you're ready to instruct that content in that module. So I suggest just the very beginning, publish course resources, publish the introduction module. Let me expand the introduction module and I'll walk you through by clicking the next button through the entire introduction module. The student course book that I shared with you in the beginning is embedded. This is not for a grade, it's just used for a reference. I hit the next. Kids can see what is a choice-led health. That is the same video I shared with you before, that kids can then see it and get an understanding what they are going to be doing in a choice-led health classroom, what is expected of them. All these videos are embedded. Go to the table talk cards. You guys saw those earlier in my slide presentation, but we put them in here too to help kids understand what's expected of them. The table talks, you either watch a video or you have a table talk card. This video, if it was me, if I'm doing live instruction, I would show the videos in a table talk card every single day in my live instruction as my warm-up. Take attendance if you're expected to take attendance. Do one of these table talk cards. I would play it, I would share my screen, I would tell the kids, reply then. This is just a quick YouTube video. Again, this one's about what makes you happy. There's a variety of different videos for table talks and a variety of different table talk cards. Then I added in the introduction module just a place. This is not for a grade, but just a place where students can submit, hey, I'm still confused, teacher. I understand and read this course book. I saw the videos, but I just have a few more questions to ask you. It just allows them a platform to ask a question to clarify what's expected of them. There's always some students that just say, I still don't get it yet. And that allows them the freedom to submit something. Then the table talk card, it goes from a video to a card in the table talks. If I expand this, there is about 99 cards that kids will choose a card, or you could choose a card for them, and you put it up and say, okay, we're doing this card today as our warm-up during live instruction. If you had to choose a different name, what would it be and why? And they submit it in the discussion board. And then day 2 or day 3 or day 4, you can choose any one of these cards to just prompt a warm-up for them to put in the discussion section of Canvas. So there's a lot of different cards that are just student reflective type of questions. My daughter loves these. When we go on a road trip, we bring these and we just hey, how do you answer this question, Cora or Bryce or my husband? We just bring these on our road trips they're basically conversation starters. They're great. So let me go to the end of these, go next. Pre-assessment. This is considered a practice quiz. There's 80 questions. Often we are asked as teachers, how do you know how much your students grew? How much academic growth did they occur in your semester or your year-long course? Whatever instructional time that's allotted to you. So this pre-assessment will allow you to see what kids got in the beginning of the course in this pre-assessment. And then when they take the final exam, the post-assessment, you can compare the pre-assessment score to their post-assessment score. It's the exact same questions in the pre-assessment as it is in the post-assessment for you to see true academic growth. So they take this, it's considered a practice quiz. You'll still get scored, but it doesn't count against their grade because it's a pre-assessment. I would do all this during my first week back of school. Now, this is just a relationship builder. You can unpublish this and do something else if you want. I've seen the popular Bitmoji virtual lockers, Bitmoji classrooms. You can do all this stuff in there. This is just one relationship builder. They complete their own personal mind map. They would just put Kim Morton. I'm from Rochester, New York. I'm a Buffalo Bills fan. I love to run. I have 3 dogs. I have 2 kids. And I currently live in Charlotte, North Carolina. It's just a quick and easy thing for kids to do and to upload to build relationships. So this is just one way. You can do your own relationship builder here. It's just there if you want to use it. Again, this is just all in the introduction module. Another table talk. I love that video, Remember the Titans. This is just a quick one. And they post what makes a cohesive team, what makes a team. Again, every opinion matters. Another getting to know you activity. Kids do what you need to know about me. They do this slide, fill it out. Everything is about them. Again, you'll be able to see this on the Canvas course when you guys get it. And it's just another relationship builder. You could, again, do your own relationship type activity. It's just there if you want to use it during that first 5 days. Next, another table talk card. Another table talk video. And then one of my favorites in this introduction module is students are expected to click on the hidden items. There are 12 different hidden items. This is like one of those Bitmoji interactive classrooms, but they click on one of these items, and what they're expected to do is when you click on it, it will take them to a website or a web tool. They copy that URL address and they submit all those web tools, websites, URL addresses for course credit. And this primes them where to find information for mental, emotional, social, emotional skills, disease prevention, health promotion. It primes them where they can go for information for the health essential topics for future assignments. But again, this is the introduction. You're building the foundation, teaching them what is choice-led health, what are they expected to do. You're doing getting to know you type activities, building relationships with kids that first week. They did the pre-assessment. Now they do this assignment where it takes them to websites and web tools that they're going to use throughout the semester to help them complete assignments. Now you are done with the introduction module. At the end of every module, kids submit an exit ticket. An exit ticket is there because it stamps the end of a module. It says, congratulations, you are at the final stage. And they just choose one of these questions for their exit ticket, submit it, and then they move on to the next module. So the introduction module was set up for the first 5 days, teaching them what is choice-led health, what's expected of them, and relationship building type of activities. Well, once you're done with those first 5 days, now you're starting into your next module, which, let me go to here. So you guys can see, introduction module, let me close that. Now we go into mental wellness, social emotional skills. I'm only going to show you mental wellness, social emotional skills because once I show you this module, substance abuse is set up the same way, nutrition is set up the same way, body systems are set up the same way. So there's continuity and consistency for kids to easily move throughout this course. So it doesn't change much at all for all the health essential topics. So let's just look at mental wellness and social emotional skills. Placed in there, this is not an assignment. It just tells students and guardians, hey, what are students expected to learn during this unit? This is where it has your objectives, your standards of learning, all embedded in here, what they're able to do, and the type of formal and informal assessments that they get to choose from. It's not an assignment, it's just a page as a reference. Here's all the mind maps. So students can either copy it by pen, paper, each one of these mind maps. They can actually take their phones and screenshot the mind maps. That's what my daughter would do. They could download the mind maps, or you as a teacher, you can put a mind map every day during live instruction, and you're focusing on 1 or 2 mind maps during your live instruction before they do their student choice and voice assignments. All the mind maps are aligned to your standards of learning, your 2020 standards of learning. So many options, but all the mind maps are focused on mental wellness, social and emotional skills in this module. So they're embedded in there. Then you've got all the table talks in the very beginning of the module. So if I get out of this, you will be able to see all the table talks are in the beginning. You have the ability to move these where you want them to be moved. I just placed all the table talks in the very beginning. You may want to rearrange them as you're playing them, how you're introducing them, that's up to you. So all the table talks are in the beginning. You guys know what those are. They're either videos, they're either a table talk card, they're a discussion. So then this is where we're getting into those student choice and voice assignments. Let me hit on starter. Starter assignment is more of the lower level thinking skills. If we reflect on Bloom's taxonomy, the revised Bloom's taxonomy, the lower level thinking skills, still good stuff, collecting, defining, sorting. Then we move into more applying, creating, and then to develop higher level thinking skills, kids synthesize, evaluate, reflect. So a starter, appetizer, main entree, dessert goes through all the different levels of questioning in the revised Bloom's taxonomy. So starter assignment, this is basically, here are words that are part of our standards of learning that are highlighted for mental wellness, social, emotional skills. They define these 10 words, but they choose, do I want to make flashcards? Do I want to do 10 fake social media posts using vocabulary word in the correct context? And they just submit it to this Canvas. They upload the assignment, or they text it in as an assignment. Sentence sleuth, they define the word, but then they also put the word in the correct sentence. So they choose one of those 3 options. So that's a starter. Starter is defining words and then using in the correct context. That's worth 20 points. The rubric is already there for you. That's perfect. I love that the rubric is embedded. Appetizer. All the appetizers are 3 choices again. Every starter, appetizer, main entree, and dessert always give kids 3 different options. They choose one. When you give them choices, they become more empowered and they own their learning. It gives them the ownership of their learning. And then they become more motivated and they're more engaged in the coursework. So appetizers, they all come from kids' health or teens' health. So they can listen or read the article. Maybe they want to choose one on assertiveness, stress, or body image and self-esteem. So they click on the link, excuse me, and then after they click on the link, it takes them to that article. And then they answer questions that are outlined here that come directly from the article. And then they submit it for credit. These are worth 20 points as well. So you can see as a teacher, okay, students are expected to list 2 reasons why assertive communication matters. Well, that's worth 2 points. List 3 things that can influence people to act passively. That's 3 points. So it's very clear what kids need to answer. And when they answer correctly, they get that many points. The points equal 20. They choose one of these assignments. So you've got starters defining, appetizers, the article. Now the entrees. The entrees is where kids actually make stuff. And when they choose an entree, not only they choose what they want to do, like create a poster, create a slideshow, or create a bifold pamphlet on one of the following topics, they choose not only what they want to produce, but they choose their topic of what they want to do it on. Like, for example, in the poster, do they want to do it on teenage stress, how to communicate effectively, the importance of personal goal setting? They choose these 7 different options. But notice, if they choose to create a poster on teenage stress, when they do their dessert, they can't do it on teenage stress again. They have to choose a different topic. So that helps them or prevents them from double dipping doing the same stuff. And in these options, this one has 3 different options like poster, slideshow, and bifold pamphlet. The next module for body systems, it may be 3 different options like infographic. It could be a flyer. It could be something different that they have to produce. So the options changed as well. So as you can see, the rubric is already embedded. This is worth 30 points. So the entree, they're making and producing a product on a health topic. A dessert, this is where they are actually reflecting and writing. Free form of type of writing. You don't have to worry about being an English language arts teacher and grading by grammar and grading by punctuation, etc. This is more of a free writing. So in the desserts, this is where they're being reflective. They have the option of, in 6th grade, from a future me project written assignment where they're pretending they're 45 years old. What advice would you give yourself on one of the following topics? Maybe they're going to pretend to write an article for a school newspaper, or maybe write an article, I got to pretend to write an article for a school magazine. I'll make that fix on that. But this is worth 40 points. It's the rubrics down below. Basically, what you're looking for as a teacher is, did they include 10 facts on the topic? Did they include 10 facts? Is it evident that they used credible, valid, and reliable sources of information? So it's hopefully just an easy rubric to see. And when they turn it in, you can grade it pretty easily. And trust me, once you go through the first module, grading becomes much, much easier because you get used to what it's like. Kind of like it gets much easier for the kids. At the end of every module is the quiz. The quizzes are based on the mind maps. I always allowed my students to use the mind maps for the quiz. I always had open notebook tests and quizzes, but that's up to you. You can choose to do that or you choose not to do that. But remember, all the mind maps, that is what's on the quizzes. The quizzes are based on the mind map content. Once they take that quiz, it's worth 10 points. Then they do an exit ticket. The exit ticket again, it's there to stamp the end of a module. Basically, it says you are done with this mental wellness, social emotional skills module before going on to substance abuse and prevention. Notice it's set up the same way. Essential health concepts, then it goes into the mind maps. I'm moving out of the inside the module view. Notice it's set up the same way. Health concepts, mind maps, starter, appetizer, main entree, dessert, quiz, exit ticket. Same thing for every single unit. Many of you may be wondering, wait a minute, I'm looking at all this assignments, starter, appetizer, entree, and dessert. There's no way my kids have enough time to not do this. They don't have enough instructional time. Choose and unpublish certain assignments then. They don't have to do all of them if you don't want them to do them. You could unpublish a starter and just have them do an appetizer, entree, or dessert. Maybe you just want them to do an appetizer, main entree, and not the dessert. You can just simply publish and unpublish these assignments on what you feel is viable during the instructional time of what you're allotted with, how much time that is given within your bell schedule, and for your semester time and how many days you have health. You can customize and retrofit this and publish and unpublish assignments as you feel is needed for your students for high success. So I am actually going to go back to here. I'm going to look at some of the chat features to see some of these questions. And let's see, I'm just looking through these questions here. Some of these are referring to questions. Oh, I have a Bills fan. Go Bills. Oh, see, this is why. Thank you, people in the chat feature, for saying, I'm from Rochester too. Notice how instantly I made meaning with you, meaning making. During that introduction module, those who are from Rochester, New York, those who are Buffalo Bills fan, you went, what? You automatically paid attention. That is why that introduction module and relationship building is so huge. So thank you for putting that in the chat feature. We connected in that way. That's exactly how you want to connect with your students. So huge for that relationship building. All right, you guys are amazing. I don't see many questions that I need to confirm up. Just great comments and connecting with people. We have over 200 some people on this Zoom, and I'm so excited. Now, dun, 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 I shared with you guys that I have a bonus slide if you stayed on, which many of you have. You guys are awesome. Let me go into view, full presentation mode. Dun, dun, dun. These are some awesome resources, web tools that have been shared so much within our global health and PE community. And folks, our health and PE teachers across the globe have been phenomenal, sharing great resources through social media. So I'm on Twitter, I follow some Facebook group pages and so forth, and I've seen some great stuff out there. So I put it all in one slide for you that I think are some of the best of the best. Here's top 6 great resources to build relationships with kids. Within this 50 back to school activities for remote learning instruction, there are some awesome back to school relationship building activities. Okay, a lot of people are, how do I embed Bitmoji Classroom into Canvas? That's a common question. Here is the tutorial video there. 12 ways to build relationships with students virtually. Awesome, that's where that virtual locker is in there, that template. 25 things you didn't know Google Slides could do. Wow, Google Slides is a great interactive tool to lead your live instruction remotely. That's kind of what I'm doing right now. I lead by Google Slides with tons of hyperlinks and videos embedded. Oh, then I took this webinar called Gaming with Google. It's amazing. And then one of my favorites, Flippity. That was that random wheel spinner of all the different exercises that we did for brain boost. Don't forget, when you're doing live instruction with kids, even behind a computer, embed those brain boosts. You gotta get them off their seat onto their feet for real learning to take place. Don't forget to do that in this remote environment. So these are great tools. So that was a bonus. Just wanna make sure that you have that please, 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 following this presentation, you guys can email me, kim.cook@cms.k12.nc.us. The whole entire presentation, this Google slide deck, you guys can access right there at that bit.ly, Virginia Health. It is case sensitive. And then if you just want the entire choice-led health folder with the teacher, student course books, rubrics, mind maps, the health essential topics, that bit.ly that says Virginia Choice-Led Health, that will lead you to it. So please take out your phones, take a picture of this slide, or you're literally taking a pen to paper and writing this down. This will give you everything that you need to use and take a deeper dive into this curriculum. This gave you an overview. It gave you an overview of what it looks like on the Canvas platform. And I wanted to make sure that you guys know that you could customize and retrofit this entire Canvas course to your instructional delivery style and to your instructional time. That is the greatest message that I want to send to you guys. So this is a brave new world. You guys are going to do so great. Trust me. Once you get started enrolling into this and you understand the rubrics, you get used to the grading, you get used to teaching, whether it's hybrid, face-to-face, or whether it's pure remote, you will get used to doing it. The very first day, you're going to feel a little awkward talking to yourself behind a screen and doing live instruction, but trust me, it gets better. It gets really, really better. In fact, I think this 4th session of me teaching choice-led health, I'm finally in my comfort zone of training and teaching behind a computer in front of 200 people that I don't even see. So I just really appreciate everyone being here. Go Bills. Hopefully the NFL does take place this year. High five to my Rochester, New York folks. Please reach out to me, and I'm going to check the chat box, or if anybody has a thought, concern, issue, and you just want to unmute yourself and quickly ask a question, I'm here for you guys. Let me look at the chat too. I'm reading a little bit about where am I going to get the courses. So the courses for Choice-Led Health in Canvas, they're being shared with Virtual Virginia and with Virginia Leadership, and they will be communicating that out as well. So you guys have been awesome. I'm just looking at everything, and know that I recorded this. So I will then transfer this Zoom recording session into a YouTube, and I will send it out to state leaders. So I'm actually going to stop recording now.